Speaker Householder, Senate President Obhoff, Leader Sykes, Leader Yuko, members of the General Assembly, Chief Justice O'Connor, Justice of the Ohio Supreme Court, elected state officials, Lieutenant Governor Husted, my fellow citizens of Ohio, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. And why don't you all sit down and relax? Mr. Speaker, it is so great to be in this beautiful and historic House chamber. Truly, truly the people's house. President Obhoff, thank you, Senator Yuko, for escorting me from the Senate chamber, the place where I started my legislative career. I learned so very much there from some amazing colleagues of both political parties. Let me introduce my bride of 51 years and my best friend, our new First Lady, Fran DeWine. Fran tells me she's going to be focusing, no surprise, on children, particularly in regard to reading, food, and nutrition. And I'll tell you, I know from her great passion for children and families, she's going to do truly some amazing things. Very excited. Members of the General Assembly, if our state is to move forward, we must govern together. Let me ask my cabinet at this point to rise and to face all of you. I will tell you I'm proud of this team, and I've instructed them to listen to you and to listen to the people of the state of Ohio. We will work together with you. For it is only by working together, Democrats and Republicans alike, that the people's business can be faithfully done. The Bible tells us that there is a time and a place for everything under the heavens. At this point in Ohio history, it is time for us to invest in Ohio. It's time for us to invest in our children, to invest in our workers, in our roads and bridges, in our infrastructure, and in Lake Erie, and our state parks, and our other great natural wonders. Simply put, it's time for us to invest in our future. Fran, I love this great state. There's so much to be proud of with our state's great, rich, storied history and a promising and hopeful future. It is an exciting time to be alive in the state of Ohio. This year, we'll celebrate the 50th anniversary of mankind's first step on the moon by our fellow Ohioan, Neil Armstrong. And as a lifelong baseball fan, I'm particularly excited. This year marks the 150th anniversary of the Cincinnati Red Stockings. Now the Reds, the oldest team in all of baseball. But not only that, on July 9th this year, the Cleveland Indians will host the 90th All-Star Game. And I intend to be there. Indeed, it's a great year to be governor of this state and to be an Ohio baseball fan. You know, one of the most important jobs of the governor is to be the biggest salesman, the biggest promoter of this state. No one was better at it than the late Jim Rhodes. He died 18 years ago yesterday. And though his final term ended 36 years ago, his legacy lives on in so many ways all over this amazing and wonderful state. And while Governor Rhodes was passionate in promoting Ohio's interests, our economy, our tourism, our natural resources, our education system, what really set him apart was his concern for people, for all the people of the state of Ohio. In the governor's own words from his February 1965 State of the State address, and let me quote, "It's a wonderful world we have here in Ohio. Our state has more remarkable characteristics, resources, and people than any state in the Union. We want to sell that idea everywhere. But I call upon you to help. I call upon every Ohioan to help. We must work together, seeking constantly that divine guidance which is rooted in our state motto. We must dedicate ourselves to a massive effort based on morality, equality, and justice to move our state forward into the future for all of our people." End of quote. And so today, we must dedicate ourselves to our own massive effort. Though we live in a great state with so many amazing opportunities every single day, so many amazing people who are doing truly incredible things here in Ohio, we still have, as we all know, many challenges, many significant challenges. John F. Kennedy said that the job of the president is to lay before the American people the unfinished business of the country. That is also my job as your governor, to lay before the people of our state our unfinished business. Unfinished business. So let me start with roads and bridges. We have neglected them too long. We now face a crisis today that must be addressed immediately. We must fill our potholes. We must bolster our bridges. And we must rebuild our roads. And so let me share with you the essential facts. Our counties, our cities, our villages, our townships have seen their resources for road and bridge repairs dwindle and dwindle and dwindle over the years. $1 of gas tax in 2005, the last time the tax was raised, now buys only 58 cents worth of road and bridge repair. And our local partners, our townships, our villages, our cities, our counties, have received no relief for 14 years. Each year, their infrastructure degrades more and more and more. Each year, they fall further and further behind. Each year, their roads and bridges get less and less safe. Collectively, our local government partners have over 200,000 miles of roads to maintain. And what about the bridges? Well, nearly 2,600 of their bridges are local bridges, our township bridges, our village, our cities, our county bridges. 2,600 are rated today in poor condition. Let me repeat that. Almost 2,600 of their bridges are today rated in poor condition. Now, the situation with our state roads and bridges is similar. The only difference is that the state has masked its problem for a while by borrowing more and more money, none of which, by the way, has gone to our local communities, our local partners. Well, now our credit cards are maxed out. We simply cannot borrow any more, nor should we. Some may think that if we do nothing, status quo, the quality of our roads will somehow remain the same. Let me assure you that is simply not true. Nothing could be farther from the truth. The money the state has borrowed, that same money that has been propping us up, has now been spent. It's gone. And now that it's gone, we are heading into a very dangerous point. Now that it's gone, we are about to see a dramatic reduction in the quality of the roads in this state. It's just now started, but each month it will get worse and worse. For a while, the bonds propped everything up. Money's gone. Debt remains. When road conditions deteriorate by 25%, crashes double. When they deteriorate 60%, crashes go up tenfold. If we do nothing, more Ohioans will get hurt, and more Ohioans will die. What a debt. Our total ODOT debt is now almost $4 billion. A record, an absolute record. This coming year, our debt service at ODOT will be $390 million, also an historic high. That means that before one single penny can be spent on roads and bridges, our drivers, our citizens must pay $390 million in debt service alone for past projects and for past commitments. That's where we are. Those are the essential facts. Now, I have instructed ODOT Director Marchbanks to take a hard look at his department. And you're going to do that, and are doing it, Mr. Director, to cut everywhere he can. And he has assured me that he is doing that. Our local jurisdictions and the state together have a combined shortfall this year and for years into the future of at least $1.2 billion per year. It will take this much additional revenue just for us to maintain our roads in their current, whatever you think about the current condition, the current conditions, and allow us to do only a modest amount of new work. That's what $1.2 billion does. My friends in the General Assembly, my fellow citizens of Ohio, by requesting $1.2 billion to fill the budget hole and to meet existing needs, let me assure you, this is a minimalist approach. This is a conservative approach. With this being the absolute bare minimum we need to protect our families and our economy. Each one of you, think about it, each one of you knows a dangerous roadway or intersection in your district. Each one of you has ones that people complain about. Each one of you has ones that where people are dying. ODOT has, at my request, identified 150 roads and highway locations all across our state that urgently need to be fixed. Our proposal that I have sent to you, the $1.2 billion, would allow us to fix each of these. And then when all of those were fixed, we would move on to additional dangerous roads and intersections. We can do that, but we can only do it with what I have sent you. And let me just be brutally honest. If you think, if your constituents think the roads are bad now, you haven't seen anything yet if we take no action. While the local governments have been suffering for some time with the lack of resources for roads, state roads are just now entering the period where the revenues for them will drop dramatically. Look, I get it. I know there certainly would be a temptation to reduce the money that we're asking for. I understand that. I've been where you are today. But I will tell you, it is the smallest amount we can add that will keep our families safe. I had a choice of what to ask you for, and I asked you for the bare minimum. I didn't want to play games with you. I didn't want to overinflate it. I wanted to tell you the truth. Anything less will mean either our roads won't be kept up, or new projects won't get done, or safety projects will not get done. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, members of the General Assembly, our families should not be driving on roads that are crumbling and bridges that are failing. So I appeal to you today as legislators, as fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, help us fix this. This state has avoided its responsibility for much, much too long. And now is the time for us, all of us, to collectively act. To do anything less, I believe, would be shirking our duty. As I said in my inaugural address, I will be asking you and the people of the state of Ohio to invest in things where returns will not all be immediate. In many cases, we won't see results during the term of my administration. In some cases, not even in our lifetimes. Yet still we must act. In the words of Robert Louis Stevenson, don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but rather by the seeds that you plant. The budget that we'll submit to you will plant seeds of hope and possibility that will grow the roots of abundance and opportunity for future generations of Ohio. My personal philosophy is really pretty simple. I take the world as I find it and do everything I can to try and make it better. And through the budget we will propose, we just want to make lives better for all Ohio families. Our budget will be based on our guiding principles, which I outlined in my inaugural speech. Family is everything. Education is a key to equality and opportunity. We must be fierce and passionate advocates for and defenders of the defenseless, those in the dawn of life, the twilight of life, and the shadows of life. And everyone, no matter where you were born, who your parents are, where you live, everyone in Ohio deserves the chance to succeed, to get a good paying job, to raise a family comfortably, and to be secure in your future. Yet tragically today, too many Ohioans are not getting the chance to succeed and to live up to their God-given potential. It's wrong. It's unconscionable that in 2019, there are still children in Ohio whose opportunities and whose dreams are stifled because they live in homes where they're exposed to lead paint. Every year, thousands of Ohio children on the age of 6 test positive for unsafe lead levels. And I will tell you undoubtedly, there are countless more who have never been tested at all, who would, in fact, if tested, test positive. In 2017, we lost over 1,000 babies in Ohio who died in their first 12 months of life. That's equal to all the children under the age of 4 living in Vinton County or Monroe County, Morgan, Harrison counties. And further, African American babies are dying at almost 3 times the rate of white babies, leaving Ohio ranked 49th worst in the whole nation for deaths of African American infants. This must stop. We must work together to do it. Tragically, through absolutely no fault of their own, there are children in every part of Ohio who are experiencing significant trauma, abuse, neglect, living with a parent who's doing drugs. These kind of what's called adverse childhood experiences are linked to an increased likelihood of depression, drug abuse, even significant decreased life expectancy. At any point in time last year, at least 15,500 of our children were in out-of-home care, and that is more than a 25% increase since 2013. Too many Ohioans are still dying daily from unintentional drug overdoses. I have instructed my Health and Human Services team, and it's an amazing team, to focus every single day on these public health challenges. Director of Health, Dr. Amy Acton, Medicaid Director Maureen Corcoran, Children's Initiatives Director Leanne Cornyn, Director of Mental Health and Addiction Services Lori Chris, Director of Job and Family Services Kim Hall, Recovery Ohio Director Alicia Nelson, and Director of Aging Ursel McElroy. This strong, compassionate team will work together across agencies to save lives. They understand that kids have only one chance to grow up and that there is an emergency, therefore, an urgency in absolutely everything we do. Their focus will be on people, and they will work with you, members of the General Assembly. They will work with you, and they will work with their counterparts at the local community level where services are truly delivered and truly rendered. Take a look at them. You've got ideas. You've got ideas. If you have ideas or your constituents have ideas, share them with them. We want your thoughts. We want your ideas. We want your good judgment. It's a team that is already, I was going to say raring to go, but they're going. In the budget that I will propose, we will be creating a new public health fund, a fund that will leverage resources through an innovative new public-private partnership to increase public health awareness and prevention strategies. And we will be infusing resources directly into communities to make systemic changes, to help local efforts to prevent and treat mental health and substance use disorders, and to support recovery and wellness for individuals in Ohio. We're going to expand the state's treatment capacity. We are going to expand the state's treatment capacity first with more crisis support for children and for adults who are struggling with mental illness and with addiction. We are going to consistently and continually every year educate children in kindergarten through 12th grade on the dangers of drugs, alcohol, and tobacco use, and teach them the skills through a much-needed focus on social emotional learning, how to make healthy decisions throughout their lives. We're going to expand wraparound service models for children in school, such as our Ohio Sobriety, Treatment, Abuse, and Reducing Trauma program known as Ohio START. It provides specialized victim services to children who have been abused or children who have been neglected because of parental drug use. And it provides drug treatment for those parents as well. This intensive program that I started as your Attorney General is keeping families together and it's keeping parents on the path to recovery. We're going to expand that. And I'm very, very grateful to my friend Attorney General Yost for his continued support of this program. We're also going to work with Attorney General Yost as we double down on the drug cartels by increasing the number of law enforcement drug task forces in Ohio. We will empower local law enforcement agencies through our creation of a new, highly specialized narcotics intelligence unit. This innovative new center will provide local law enforcement with enhanced intelligence and high-tech analytical capabilities to strengthen criminal investigations and to improve public safety. We're going to dramatically increase the number of specialty docket courts across Ohio to get people into treatment and to keep them out of jail. And I want to thank Chief Justice O'Connor for her dedication to this effort and for all her work to make the criminal justice system more fair and better aligned with needs of all Ohioans. Justice, thank you very much. And we're going to help at-risk mothers take care of their babies by tripling the number of families served in evidence-based home visiting programs every single year. We're going to help these children by increasing our investment in quality early childhood education. By doing this, we will improve these children's odds for success. We're also going to direct a significant number of state resources to Ohio's most in-need children to help them overcome the barriers and disadvantages of poverty and trauma, our school children who are suffering. We have both a moral and an economic imperative to support these students every way we can. And that is why, through targeted funding in our budget, these kids will receive additional resources for mentoring, for after-school programs, wraparound supports, health care, mental health care, and much, much more. It is the right thing to do. And to everyone in Ohio who works in children's services, thank you. We are going to be good partners with county children's service agencies. This drug epidemic has strained Ohio's welfare system, our child welfare system, with many, many more children being placed into foster care. And let's be honest. Let's be honest. Historically, the state's financial support to local children's service agencies has been very, very small. We have to change that, and I intend to change it. We will increase our state investment in children's services and in these children. And we will actively work with all local agencies to eliminate red tape, to relieve the pressure on local dollars, and allow promising prevention and intervention methods for our most vulnerable children to flourish. I have also instructed my Director of Foster Care Initiative, Christy Burry, to focus every day on ways to better help children and families. We elevated that position through an executive order that I signed several minutes after I was sworn in. We're going to continue our efforts to recruit more foster and adoptive parents and better support kinship caregivers, primarily grandparents who find themselves unexpectedly caring for these children and who are doing a great job. By the year 2020, 1/4 of all of Ohioans will be age 60 and older. To assist this growing population, we will strengthen the caregiver infrastructure through respite and other supportive services for those families caring for older Ohioans living with a chronic or disabling or serious health condition. We'll expand nutritional and other programs that promote lifelong healthy living. And we will educate the public on ways to protect the independence, the vitality, and the contributions of older Ohioans. Even though our economy is going well, we have many of our fellow citizens who struggle every day. Many in our urban core, in our rural heartland, but really all over Ohio. Many people have not seen economic recovery in their neighborhoods. We will focus on bringing jobs and job training to the communities and to the people who have been left behind. Our administration will focus on knocking down the barriers that stand in the way of a better life. We'll focus on creative, new strategies to restore hope and to restore opportunity. We have a shocking number of our fellow citizens with disabilities who are unemployed or grossly underemployed. This is wrong. And so we are going to invest more resources into meaningful initiatives that increase employment opportunities for people with disabilities. And we are going to provide more job opportunities in areas that have been left out by enhanced opportunity zones. We're going to help Ohio college students and their families by having every one of our public universities offer guaranteed tuition that won't increase one dime over the course of 4 years if that student is in college. The cost of college should be transparent and predictable. I want to thank our university presidents. I know several of them are in the gallery. People who are seated here today for their commitment to do this. Thank you. For those who take another career path, we're going to embark on the most aggressive workforce development and worker retraining effort in the history of the state of Ohio. We're going to invest more in career tech centers, 2-year community colleges, and we are going to create at least 10,000 new industry certificates in the first year. And let me just take a moment, while we're talking about education, to thank all the teachers in Ohio. We owe so very much to them. Whether they are in early childhood education, primary education, teaching high school, homeschooling, higher education, career tech, special ed, they're doing a lot. Teaching's tough. That student taught for 4.5 months. That was tough. Figured being a lawyer is a lot easier. It's a tough job. Teaching is tough. And we know that teachers change lives absolutely every single day. Fran and my son Mark, our daughter-in-law Becca, are educators here in Ohio. Our daughter Anna volunteered in inner city middle school for a year. Our granddaughter Isabel is currently volunteering in a Cristo Rey school. I will just tell you, from all of them, each one of them, I continue to learn so very, very much. And I'm grateful for what they're doing. And I'm grateful for every teacher out there. And then there's Innovate Ohio. Let me take a moment now to recognize and thank my amazing Lieutenant Governor John Husted and his wife Tina. Tina, stand up. John is doing transformational things for our state through Innovate Ohio. Innovate Ohio's mission is to look at every state service through the eyes of the customers, our Ohio citizens, our job creators. Innovate Ohio will take a leading role in technology projects across this state. They will coordinate projects across our administration to use data to change the way we solve problems. Already, Innovate Ohio is working. Already, Innovate Ohio is working to better collect and use data across agencies in important areas involving the opioid crisis, workforce development, children's initiatives. A lot more is coming. Now, let me talk again about a couple more areas where we simply must invest. We need to invest more in our great state parks, our preserves, and our natural areas. These God-given gifts are such an important part of what makes Ohio so special and what makes Ohio so unique and truly wonderful. Our wildlife is on the rebound. I'm told it will be a great year, John, to catch walleye in Lake Erie. We're seeing more and more magnificent bald eagles. We have so much to appreciate and to love. We need to support and expand efforts that are already starting to work to preserve and protect our state's natural wonders, from Lake Erie to all our lakes and all our rivers throughout the state of Ohio. But let's be honest, at the same time, we still face some significant challenges. I want to talk about that. Water. Water is vitally important to every Ohio citizen, no matter where they live in Ohio. From aging infrastructure, to failing septic systems, to nutrient pollution, to threats of lead contamination, communities throughout Ohio face different and unique water problems. The western Lake Erie Basin has been especially hard hit by algae blooms. We remember, those of you from Toledo, remember the 2014 water crisis when 500,000 Toledo residents couldn't use their water at all. And we've heard from charter boat captains who've said that during blooms they have to travel further and further out into the water because the lake is so thick and green, it was almost like pea soup. Our water problems have accumulated over the years. And it is going to take a dedicated, long-term commitment to achieve real solutions to protect Ohio's water for our children and our grandchildren. Mr. President, I greatly commend the work that you and this chamber and this legislature have all undertaken to help clean up and protect Lake Erie. And I want to tell you that I look forward to working with you to fully fund the objectives of Senate Bill 2 to save this jewel of Ohio. And we will do it. That is why, through the budget that I will submit to you in a few days, we're going to create a new fund called the H2 Ohio Fund to invest in targeted solutions to ensure safe and clean water all across the state of Ohio. We cannot, my friends, we cannot continue to lurch from water crisis to water crisis. This fund will give us the ability to plan and develop long-term solutions. We have to do it. The right thing to do is often not the easy thing to do. And this is not going to be easy, nor will it be inexpensive. But the cost of doing this now, doing it the right way, will be far lower than the cost of not doing it at all. We must make a real commitment not only to water quality, but frankly to all of our natural resources. Mr. Speaker, I share your interest in making sure that the air that we breathe is as clean as it can be. Thank you for the work that you, caucus, chamber, General Assembly have done. I look forward to working with you and all the members of the General Assembly on an all of the above energy strategy for our state that not only will ensure that Ohio's economy remains competitive, but that also generates clean electricity that lights our homes and powers our businesses. Leader Sykes, Leader Yuko, Fran and I enjoyed sitting down and sharing breakfast with you and your leadership teams recently and hearing about the issues that are important to you, important to your caucus. Fran and I enjoyed that a lot. I know we'll find many areas of common ground and many, many things to work together, and I look forward to doing that. Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, members of the General Assembly, we're poised to lead a new Ohio renaissance, a rebirth of our state by facing the problems we have put off for too long and tackling our challenges head on. My greatest desire is to work hand in hand with each of you to address our unfinished business. I know that through good Ohio grit and determination, and by undertaking bold, daring, and transformational efforts, we will move Ohio forward. In my inaugural address, I spoke of the optimism with which my parents and grandparents lived their lives. And I talked about how my grandfather planted trees well into his 80s, surely knowing that he wouldn't live to see them grow big and tall. Yet he did it. He did it nonetheless. On the eve of the night before my inauguration as your governor, Fran and I and our grandchildren and children planted another tree on our farm. That tree is a symbol of our optimism, of our commitment to and our abiding faith in the future of this state, and of our sincerest belief that through our actions now and through our investments today, we will change lives. We can do that. My dear friend, former colleague, the late Governor George Voinovich, was also very much an optimist. Fran and I learned so very much from George and Janet when I served as his lieutenant governor and later alongside him in the United States Senate. And so with them in my heart, in my mind today, I would like to conclude my first State of the State address with the closing lines of George Voinovich's final State of the State address. George's uplifting, optimistic words still ring so very, very true today. With God's help, and with all of us working together, the sun will always shine brightly over this great state of ours, beautiful Ohio. Thank you very much.
Thank you.